everyone, my name is Carmen from New Leaf Designs and welcome to another end of the month recap where I weigh all of my projects and see how many grams I've knit up this month. And I'm doing this to keep myself motivated during the Year of Stash 2025, where I try to use up as much of my stash as I can. And in the previous months, let me actually take my notebook. I think I've knit up around a kilogram of yarn so far. Yes, 381 grams in January and 683 grams in February. So that's roughly 1,060 grams or so. And this month I've also been hosting the Alright Fine Make Along, where we work on projects that we really don't want to work on, but will make us feel so good when we actually do finish them. And I'm happy to say that I dug out a project which was 10 plus years old, and I finished a commission, a secret commission, which you will have seen just tiny snippets of and blurred images. And I finally finished it and I have shipped it off a few days ago and I'm so happy. I finished it, I did it in time, and I am free to work on new and more exciting things now. And the commission was a bunch of socks. I designed 12 pairs of socks. I only needed to knit one sock for each pair, so that was great. And one of them only needed to be knit halfway so they can show pictures of a work in progress, which I thought was really fun. So this month I knit the last 4.5 socks, and they were 46 grams, 45 grams, 52 grams, and 51 grams, and the half one was 7 grams. So it wasn't really half, but it was just a little work in progress. So I measured all of that before I shipped them because obviously I wouldn't be able to weigh them afterwards. And the project that sat in a bag for 10 years was this little bird, this Amigurumi bluted. So cute. I have the finished one here, and this one, it did not have the eyes yet, or the beak, or the feathers, and it was only finished or worked up until about here. And so I finished the body and added the feathers in, and I did the feet. Where are the feet? Here we go. So I started working on this at the start of the make along, which was March 9th, and I noted down how many grams I was using of each color, and now I cannot find this note. I cannot find this piece of paper where I wrote that on, which is infuriating. So if you're okay with me kind of guesstimating this, then I guess we're fine. I weighed this entire thing and it was 66 grams. I weighed it beforehand and took a photo of it. Let's see, yes, this was 66 grams and these feet together were 23. So if we say these are about 12 grams each, and the 3 toes are what make up the feathers here. So if this is 12 grams, and so maybe the 3 toes are 9 grams together, so we could count that as 9 grams. The eyes and the beak I'm not gonna count. And then 1/3. So let's, okay, so if this is 9 grams, if this whole thing is 66 grams, we do 66 minus 9 is 57. And then about 2/3 of that I had already done. So what is 50? It's about 20, isn't it? Times 3. 19 grams. Okay, so I will have worked 19 grams on the body plus 9. 19 plus 9 plus 23 for the feet. And then now I only have to put filling in it and then sew it together. So 19 plus 19 plus 23 equals 51. Pretty good. And I'll tally that up at the end. I ran into a little roadblock with this because I did not move any felt with me, when I moved here just over a year ago. And my mom was coming over and I asked her to bring a piece of felt because I had left everything at my mom's house because, you know, she's very crafty as well. So any craft materials that I didn't bring, I gave to her. So I was finally able to add the beak yesterday or the day before yesterday. So now I can finally finish it. Right, so that was the bird. So I've got 51 grams for that. I weighed the socks. I've also made a scrunchie. I made a scrunchie on the machine. And I made the elastic very, very tight so that the idea is that I already put my hair up into a bun with a different hair tie, and then I'll just have to pass this, I have to pass it over. But I need to perfect the pattern a little bit because it is not behaving as a scrunchie. The outside is not scrunching. It is like... It's like I'm wrapping my hair in a donut. So I'm not sure what happens there. Maybe I need to twist the fabric around, or maybe it just needs to be different yarn. But it was really fun to make, and I knit that with my machine, which I have set up now here. I did also knit a swatch this month, but again, you know, since my mom was coming over, I was cleaning up some stuff and don't know where it is now. So if I find it, I'll just add it to next month, if you're okay with that. And the scrunchie, there's a piece of elastic in here. So instead of weighing this, I weighed the difference in the yarn ball that I started with, because it was 50 grams when I started and I weighed it at the end, and I used 12 grams for this little scrunchie. I also am making another scrunchie, which I did knit by hand, and it's almost finished. Isn't it so fun? I was making this because I was teaching a friend how to knit, and I thought, yeah, a scrunchie is a great pattern and great first project because sizing doesn't really matter, and yeah, so I thought that was fun. But it is like quite a large project because it needs to be around 40 centimeters long. So maybe not a good beginner project in that sense, but it's less work than a scarf. So, and I weighed this just before when it still had all of the yarn ends attached, because I thought, you know, then it's gonna weigh more, and this is also yarn out of my stash, right? This is 3 grams worth of ends. And I weighed the scrunchie and it was 32 grams, so that's good. I used a lot of Scapious Metropolis for this, and I used it double stranded, and I knit it on 4mm needles. I think I used about 26 stitches, roughly. You want roughly 10 centimeters wide and 40 centimeters long for a scrunchie, roughly. And now all I have to do is put the elastic in and then finish mattress stitching the thing together. And if you saw my Instagram stories, you will have seen that I, instead of weaving the ends in, I tied a knot in them. And usually I never do that because you can feel the knots. But in this project, I was already weaving in the ends as I go, or as I went, meaning that I was knitting, and if I would start a new color, I would take the old color and kind of weave it in as I knit, the same way that you trap floats when you work color work. So I'd already woven them in a little bit, so they were already a little secure, and I didn't feel like weaving in all of those ends. So I just tied the neighboring 2 strands together, because you won't be able to feel this and you won't be able to see the inside. So that's what I figured. I can totally just put knots in this. I will put a picture on Instagram when I finished it. And then, is this my last project? It probably is. I was mostly knitting the socks this month. Each of the socks took me about a week, so, and I was knitting basically every free moment that I had in the car, in between cooking, in the evening, in the morning, everywhere. And then somehow I also found some time to work on this, which is my second market bag. Here is my first market bag. I'm also calling this the banana bag because it's yellow on the outside and white on the inside. It's made with 2-color brioche, and it was the workshop project that I did with my Patreon supporters last September. Yeah, I think in September. It's so fun. You basically knit a long rectangle of 2-color brioche, knit a garter stitch strap on each end, and it's so fun. And I had this DK weight or maybe worsted weight cotton that I need to work up. I think it's DK. And I don't normally use cotton like this anymore. It's more or less like the cotton that I used for the bird. So I could have done some amigurumi crochet with it or some other crochet, but I wanted to make another bag. I do really love this color combo, this dusty pink and brick red. Quite like that, and I still have to decide which is the right side. I think I might lean towards the brick red, but I don't know, we will see. So I did not weigh this when I started, but I weighed it when at some point I did weigh it, and at that point I thought, oh, okay, I think I've added about double the amount to it. So from that, I kind of guesstimated that it was about 20 grams before this month. So anything over 20 grams will go onto the tally for this month. So let's see, what can I use to weigh this? I'm just putting a ball of yarn on there just so that there's a little bit of height, and then I can balance this on there. Wait, I have to put it to 0 first. Okay, 54 grams. So that is 34 for this month. Okay, are we ready? It's not going to be as much as last month. Last month I used up a lot of yarn then. It was over 600 grams, but I used up some really thick yarn and some really heavy yarn. So yeah, we will see. I am going to count it all together. 51 plus 46 plus 45 plus 51 plus 52 plus 7 plus 12 plus 32 and then 34. Drum roll. 330 grams. Yay! So 330 grams for March is the least amount I knit up in a month so far. But to be fair, socks don't use up that much. So still pretty happy with this. Pretty happy. And for the total for this quarter is 1,394 grams. Yay! So that's pretty good. That's almost 14 skeins, almost 14 balls of yarn already, even though not really, because let me just count this without the really heavy yarn that I had last month. So a pot holder, yeah, so minus 444 grams. That's what I used for both pot holders. Minus the really big and heavy projects, I still used 950 grams this quarter. So yeah, I am really pleased with that. And now that I have my knitting machine set up, I cannot wait to knit way more on this because now I finish this commission, I will actually allow myself to work on it. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And the market bag, I knit on that primarily while I was winding yarn on the Kado yarn winder. So if you haven't seen the yarn winder review for this, I will link it somewhere. And it's an electric yarn winder, and it was really fun. I wound so many skeins of yarn or balls of yarn with it. I put them all into my yarn closet. It's all very nice and organized now, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I have one more project this month that wasn't knit or crochet or punch needle or embroidery, but it is in this room, just not in the shot right now. But I have recorded a separate video about that, which will also be coming later this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because it is really fun. I think you're gonna love it. And I'm really excited for this month because we've just finished the All Right Fine make along, where we work on projects that we don't really want to work on, and now we are free to work on new and exciting projects. Maybe you're doing a new cast on, maybe you're adding a new color to an existing work in progress, maybe you're doing other fun stuff. Be sure to share in the comments what you are looking forward to working on next. It is springtime, there are more colors outside, and I feel like adding so many more colors inside my home as well. Yeah, I'm all for the dopamine knitting. Just color, color, color. Alright, that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I am so excited for this next month because yes, we can work on anything. Thank you so much for watching, and keep your eyes open for that other project I was telling you about. It will be coming very, very soon. Alright, see you next time. Bye-bye!